Good morning, everyone. Let's start with our next practical, that is effect of drugs on blood pressure and heart rate of the dog. Okay, so this particular topic, as it is related to the cardiovascular pharmacology, and we have already covered almost all the drugs of the cardiovascular pharmacology. That's why this is the experiment where we test the actual effects of the drugs onto the blood pressure and heart rate. Okay, so the animal which we are going to use is the dog. In the last experiment we have used frog, which is cold-blooded animal, and now it is warm-blooded animal that we are going to use. Okay, so different drugs we will be using, and we are going to observe the what effect these drugs produce onto the blood pressure and heart rate of the dog. And as usual, we will end up with the video of the that particular software, that is XFarm Pro, in which it will be like a simulated experiment. Okay, so let's start. So the purpose of it, that why we need to study this, that student, you should be able to know about what is blood pressure and its significance. Second purpose is to know the effects of different drugs on the blood pressure and the heart rate. And the third purpose is to know about measuring of blood pressure of dog by using a mercury manometer. Okay, so the first thing that we need to study in here is this about mercury manometer, a different kind of instrument we use for the measurement of blood pressure in dogs. The other types of instrument can also be used, like the one we use a sphygmomanometer. That sphygmomanometer, in the name itself, there is a manometer. Okay, it is a mercury manometer only, but it is a advanced version, or it is modified version of that particular manometer which we used to use in the dogs. Okay, so description of this particular experiment: the systemic arterial blood pressure, which is usually called as arterial blood pressure, is the result of discharge of blood from left ventricle into the already full aorta. Okay, so these figures, they vary according to the time of the day, the posture, gender, and age of an individual. So all of these things, they are like generic things. You have already studied about the cardiovascular system in anatomy and physiology, as well as you have studied the drugs. That's why I will just read it out, because it is quite straightforward. Okay, so during bed rest at night, the blood pressure tends to be lower. It increases with age and is usually higher in women than in men. Okay, so recording of the blood pressure in an anesthetized animal like dog, cat, or rabbit is one of the standard methods for the pharmacological studies of the drugs. Okay, so what is the outcome of this sentence? The one word of this sentence is very important. It is anesthetized. Anesthetized means what? We use a general anesthetic to we give it to the animal, and we use a whole animal for this particular experiment. Unlike that of the frog heart preparation, where we have to kill the animal, take out the heart and mount it. Instead of it, the heart remains in the body of the animal. We just do small surgical procedure, cut out open the heart, and see what effect drugs have on the heart. Okay, so this sometimes there is no need to cut out the heart also. By giving the medication through one of the vein, it can suffice. But in this particular procedure or in this experiment, we are going to cut out the heart, open the chest to see the heart, and directly inject the drugs. Okay, so blood pressure is studied by Poiseuille's manometer. So Poiseuille, name of scientist, in 1828 originally designed the mercury manometer, and later in 1847 Carl Ludwig modified it to allow graphic records to be obtained from a float on the mercury, so that progressive changes in the blood pressure could be studied. Okay, so he attached one float, or float means it is something that floats onto that mercury, it doesn't dip. Okay, so as the mercury moves, that particular float also moves, and that float is connected to the writing tip or writing needle, which writes or which records onto the uh, rotating kymograph drum. Okay, so we will see that particular diagram or that particular image in next few slides. Okay, now also the assembly remains basically the same. Okay, so whatever Carl Ludwig has modified it, the assembly which we use nowadays, it also remains the same. But as it is said over here, it remains the same, but it is not so. We actually go for the digital blood pressure instruments instead of these old age. Okay, because there are too many difficulties with this instrument, and these methods, they are invasive methods. Okay, try to remember our practical where we have measured or recorded the blood pressure. That time I have told you there are two methods, that is direct method and indirect method. Direct method, we directly insert that manometer into the vessel, okay, blood vessel. And in indirect, the example was the sphygmomanometer. So nowadays we use indirect method, we don't use the direct methods. Okay, so it consists of, now we are describing the structure of that particular instrument. So it consists of mercury manometer with a float supporting a long stiff wire that writes onto the smoked surface of the kymograph with the help of a writing point. Now they have said it is smoked surface of kymograph. What earlier we used to do is that we used to take the paper, okay, and we used to smoke the paper with the that Rockwell fumes. Okay, so what happens because of it? It blackens that particular paper. Okay, black ash-like substance, it get deposited onto that paper, and we used that paper for the recording. But nowadays, what we do in pharmacology lab, instead of smoking the paper, uh, which is like a very tedious process and time consuming process, we use just white paper, and in to the that frontal writing lever, we attach a nib of pen or nib of what to say, sketch pen. Okay, so that sketch pen, it writes onto that particular paper, and we have to add ink to that. Adding ink is not a tedious process, it is not time consuming, so we prefer it. Okay, so this smoking of the drum, it is a very tedious process, and again we have to do if anything goes wrong. Okay, so the assembly only records mean arterial pressure. Okay, so mercury manometer, it consists of U-shaped glass tube with two vertical limbs about 30 centimeter in height and 5 millimeter bore. Bore means it is like a lumen diameter of it. It is 5 millimeter. So half of the tube is filled with mercury The mercury is displaced equally up in one limb and down in other. Hence, to obtain actual pressure in terms of mercury column, the displacement recorded must be multiplied by 2. So to avoid this, a millimeter scale with doubled values up to 250 millimeter per Hg is fitted with the manometer. Okay, so now this is the like solution to this problem. So this is the problem which we face with the mercury manometer, and to avoid this problem, avoid this situation, we just add a millimeter scale to it. Okay, so next is, on the surface of one limb of mercury column has a cylindrical float which supports a long stiff wire bearing a stylus on its upper end that writes on the rotating smoke paper surface of the kymograph. Okay, so as we have seen that there are two vertical columns. Into only one vertical column there will be a float. Another, what will be there? It has a side tube that is connected through inextensible tube which is made up of thick rubber or polythene to an arterial cannula. So the other end of it connects to the arterial cannula. The upper end of the limb is also connected with reservoir bottle which contains some anticoagulant fluid. You should be able to correlate which anticoagulants we use. That can be pumped into this limb and through the interconnecting tube to the arterial cannula. So as we have caused injury to the blood vessel by inserting cannula, there is a possibility that blood may get coagulated at that particular region, and to avoid that we use anticoagulant solution so that the blood vessel, it will be patent. It will be patent means what? The blood should be flowing through that particular vessel continuously so that we are able to record the blood pressure. If blood coagulates, then there won't be changes in that mercury manometer levels, and we won't be able to judge, or we won't be able to record the arterial blood pressure. So to keep the blood flowing, we have to also inject or keep flowing the anticoagulant solution through that arterial cannula. So at the junction of the side tube, a three-way stopcock connects or disconnects arterial cannula and manometer from the reservoir bottom. Okay, so now this is the actual image of the thing. So you can see a three-way stopcock is over here. In this we have the reservoir bottle into which there is anticoagulant solution. In this arm, this is long. These are the two vertical arms. This is one. This is one. So in this vertical arm we have the mercury. Okay, and in this vertical arm we have the anticoagulant. Okay, so one end of this anticoagulant solution is connected to the heart. Okay, so by means of it, this is a arterial cannula. So cannulation is done, and we are keeping this particular blood vessel patent by not allowing the coagulation process to happen. And on the other vertical end of it, we have a float to which a needle is attached, and as the level of mercury changes in this particular vertical tube, we get such graphs onto the kymograph, which is a rotating one. Okay, so here it is shown actually this is dog. So this is mercury manometer. We have the float over here to which we have attached a particular writing needle which writes onto the kymograph paper, and into this black color portion is the mercury, and this is an anticoagulant solution, and this arm of this mercury manometer, it is connected to the heart by means of arterial cannula. Okay, so now the actual experiment we will see. So the objective is to study the effects of various drugs on blood pressure and heart rate of the dog. So principle of it, blood pressure is the force or pressure which circulating blood exerts onto the wall of blood vessel. So it may be systolic or diastolic. Blood pressure directly proportional to cardiac output and peripheral resistance. We already know that the heart and blood vessel are under control of autonomic nervous system. Then sympathetic stimulation increases cardiac output and peripheral resistances and increases the blood pressure. In contrast, parasympathetic have opposite effects. It decreases the cardiac output, which lowers the blood pressure. So the drugs which increase the blood pressure are called as pressor agents, and those decrease the blood pressure are called as depressor agents. So when you have studied about the sympathomimetic drugs, one of the clinical category of the sympathomimetic drugs is the vasopressor agent. If you have had referred to the book, that is the Satoskar and Bhandarkar, this particular category of drugs you won't find in other book like the KD Tripathi. Okay, so requirements: animal or tissue. If we use intact animal, we have to use the dog as intact animal. If we have to extract, if we have to isolate, we have to isolate the dog heart. Okay, so the drugs which we use: heparin. You should be able to correlate why we are using heparin as anticoagulant. Then we have to use saline, and that too particularly 0.9% of the sodium chloride. Why 0.9%? Because it is an isotonic solution. It will not cause the hemolysis. Then we have the pentobarbital sodium, which is an anesthetic, okay, to anesthetize the animal if we are using the intact animal. Then we have the adrenaline, which is sympathomimetic, noradrenaline, isoprenaline. These are all sympathomimetics. Then we have propranolol, which is sympatholytic. Then we have acetylcholine, which is parasympathomimetic. We have atropine, which is parasympatholytic, and we have histamine. Okay, so histamine, it is an autocoid which we will be studying in detail its pharmacology in next unit. Okay, so the equipment which we are going to use is a kymograph, then arterial cannula, then venous cannula, then tracheal cannula, U-shaped or Poiseuille's mercury manometer. It is not monometer, it is manometer. Spelling mistake. So other equipment which is like accessory equipment, it is stand, syringe, beaker, stopwatch, dissection box, thread, connecting rubber tubing, etc., etc. Okay, so now we have to like it is like procedure. Okay, so it is a procedure. I forgot to give that heading. So it is a procedure. So prepare the stock solution of different drugs to study the effects on blood pressure and heart rate on anesthetized dog. Okay, so in like every experiment you will have this word, that is stock solution. Okay, so as every experiment needs it, that preparation of stock solution, as well as if you go to the industry, you have to make the stock solutions. I will take one session on this. Okay, so how to prepare the stock solutions. If I asked you that you have to prepare 1 ml of 10 millimolars of one particular drug stock solution, then how you will prepare? a certain calculation needs to be done. You need to first of all understand what is 1 millimolar. Okay, depending on that you will multiply that 1 millimolar to the 10 millimolar, and how much stock you have to make, it is only 1 ml. So certain calculations are involved, so you need to learn them. Why you need to learn them? Because they are not only applicable over here, but they are applicable in general, and they are very most important if you go into some manufacturing industry which manufactures the drug products. Okay, if you go to certain software company, there is no need to learn this all. But if your target is to go into the pharmaceutical company which manufactures tablets, capsules and other dosage form, then you need to learn this. Okay, so next point is that weigh an adult healthy dog and anesthetize it with pentobarbital sodium. So those we have to use, that is 25 milligram per kg intravenously. Okay, so fix the animal on the operation table by tying its legs, expose the trachea and two carotid arteries by making midline incision in the neck region. So surgical procedure have started. Okay, so insert tracheal cannula into the trachea to ensure free airway. Okay, so it may be possibility that during surgery the airway may get choked up due to the accumulation of the fluid like the mucus and all. So to keep the airway patent, we have to insert this tracheal cannula and take out any secretions which are there in. Okay, so also it helps to provide the artificial respiration if necessary. So the effect of drugs on a respiration can also be recorded by this means. Okay, so next, cannulate one carotid artery. Carotid artery, you must be knowing, it is the one that supplies oxygenated blood to the brain, and the jugular vein, which is also in neck region, it carries the deoxygenated blood from the brain to the heart. Okay, so very important artery it is. Okay, and why we are choosing the carotid artery? Because the blood flows through the carotid artery under a standard pressure. Okay, so that's why carotid artery we cannulate. So how to cannulate? By using the arterial cannula through the small incision we have to make. Why we have to make very small incision to it? Because if we cut it, the carotid artery carelessly, then as because too much of pressure is there in the carotid artery, you will have spurt of blood everywhere. Spurt म्हणजे एकदम blood सगळीकडे निघून येईल, and everything will go like it will become difficult to actually stop the bleeding. Okay, so it is connected via a three-way stopcock to the U. Okay, so that U is a poisonous manometer and to the pressure bottle of the mercury manometer system, which is filled with 0.9% NaCl solution which containing heparin. Heparin is anticoagulant, that is 1000 units per ml we have to use. So the space between manometer and arterial cannula is also filled with saline heparin solution, and care should be taken to avoid entry of any air bubble. Okay, so this is very important. We should not allow air bubble in that particular area. So the pass a thread under another carotid artery and clamp it to the study the effect of carotid occlusion. Okay, carotid occlusion is that by tying that particular thread, we are occluding the flow of blood through that carotid artery. Okay, so when one carotid artery is occluded, what effect does it have onto the blood pressure and heart rate? That we are monitoring. Okay, so next is dissect the femoral vein in the thigh region. from the femoral triangle and cannulate it with thin polythene tube which is connected via three-way stopcock for injecting various drugs and for flushing with saline heparin solution after each injection. So inject different drugs one by one through venous cannula and record their effect onto the blood pressure of dog. Okay, so inference, we will see inference later on. First of all, we will see that particular experiment. Okay.
This is the procedure of the experiment, effect of drugs on the dog, BP and heart rate. So first, as you have already known, that is we have the experiment in the XPalm software. So first we have to click this button. Then for starting the experiment, we have to click here. This is the XPalm software. So now this section is, I think all of you viewed in my video. So here in the red line, this is the red line indicates your heart rate, that is beat per minute, and the black, this line, right side line, this one is indicating blood pressure. It is mean of age, that is blood pressure. So first we have to select a drug. For example, we have to select epinephrine. We have to select epinephrine. The dose to be injected, as you have already shown in the video, that is dose to be injected microgram per kg. 2 means 2 microgram per kg of epinephrine we have injected. Okay. Then after selection of the dose, what we have to do? We have to inject the drug. Now the response is shown here. For epinephrine, this EP indicates epinephrine, 2 indicates the concentration of the epinephrine, that is 2 microgram per kg of epinephrine when we inject in the dog, then the response is shown here. Okay. Previously I told that the red, this line, line indicates your beat per minute, that is the heart rate, and this line indicates the blood pressure. Now I will select another drug, that is norepinephrine. Dose to be injected 3 microgram per kg. Okay. Now we have to inject. The response is shown. Okay. Again, I will select isoprenylene. Dose 3 microgram per kg. By clicking this symbol, we have to increase or decrease the dose. So for isoprenylene, I will take 3 microgram per kg of isoprenylene and I will inject the response is shown here. Again, I will take another drug, that is acetylcholine. Dose 5 microgram per kg. I will inject. The response is shown here. This EP2 means, previously I told, that is epinephrine 2 microgram per kg. N, that is norepinephrine. N indicates norepinephrine, that is 3. The dose will be 3 microgram per kg. Isoprenylene 3 microgram per kg of dose will inject. Then acetylcholine 5 microgram per kg of dose will. Okay. Now I will take histamine. We have to select. I will select histamine. Dose 3 microgram per kg. I will inject. The response is for histamine. So in this way, we have to perform this experiment and measure the heart rate and BP for different drugs on the dog. Okay. So after that, what we have to do? We have to measure this heart rate and this BP. Okay. By how we will measure the heart rate and BP? We have to uh, just move the mouse pointer over the display, and that will help to measure the blood pressure and heart rate. Okay, so in this way we will perform this experiment.
Okay, so that was all for the experiment, and that is how it is done using a software. So now we will take out the inferences from this particular experiment. Although that in that particular software it wasn't shown the entire thing, that what effects drugs have onto the blood pressure, but we have to take out certain inferences. So what effects sympathomimetics have, what effects sympatholytics have, what effect the parasympathomimetics have, what effect parasympatholytic have, and what is the effect of histamine. That will be our inference, or that conclusion we have to draw from this particular experiment. Okay, so noradrenaline, which is sympathomimetic, it causes vasoconstriction and causes increased systolic and diastolic pressure with reflex bradycardia. So only rise in blood pressure is seen, and this is due to vasoconstriction of blood vessels, especially those supply blood to skin and mucosa. Since beta action of noradrenaline is not seen, the effect of rise in blood pressure is more than the adrenaline. Okay. So next is isoproterenol or isoprenaline, which is selective beta agonist. It is a vasodilator but strongly increases cardiac force and the heart rate. So the beta 1 receptor which is present in heart, they are excited by the isoprenaline, as a result of which there is increase in the heart rate and the blood pressure. So when drug reaches periphery, there occurs vasodilation, and this vasodilation, it is because of the beta 2 receptors. Okay, so as we have seen, it is selective beta agonist. There is no effect of it on the alpha receptor. That's why there is vasodilation, which is beta 2 mediated response. So as a result of this, the mean arterial blood pressure, it false. So adrenaline, next third drug is the adrenaline, that is sympathomimetic. So it combines both the action, that is both alpha and beta receptor mediated action it shows. So its pharmacological effect onto the cardiovascular system, they are quite difficult to understand when we compare it to the isoprenaline and noradrenaline. Okay, so beta 1 receptor stimulation, there is sudden increase in heart rate and force of contraction. So immediately due to reflex inhibition, there is slight decrease, but the drug reaches the periphery where alpha 1 receptor stimulation produces vasoconstriction. So hence further rise in blood pressure is observed. Okay, so you can see when it acts on the beta 1 receptor, there will be a rise in the heart rate. Okay, so there will be slight dip in the heart rate due to the its action onto the what to say inhibitory effect is produced, which is reflex inhibition, but again it will increase because of peripheral vasoconstriction. So when concentration of adrenaline is reduced, beta 2 receptor action predominates. Now the scenario becomes difficult. Okay, so what happens when the beta 2 receptor action is predominating? When the concentration is reduced. At higher concentration, it is alpha 1 dominant action onto the blood vessel, but at lower concentration it is beta 2 action, and as a result of this there is slight fall in blood pressure is seen. So there is increase in blood pressure, then there is decrease, then again there is increase, and again there is decrease. Okay, so like this certain graph you can see. So the beta adrenergic receptor blockers like propranolol, they cause little change in the heart rate, cardiac output or arterial pressure. In presence of propranolol, sympathomimetic drugs fail to produce any effect on the blood pressure. So if we give the adrenaline, isoprenaline or the noradrenaline along with or simultaneously with the propranolol like drug, which is a sympatholytic drug, there won't be any effects onto the blood pressure. So we will get a straight graph in that condition. Okay, so next is the acetylcholine. Now the parasympathomimetic and parasympatholytic drugs, what effect they have onto the blood pressure, that we are going to see. So the acetylcholine, which is a parasympathomimetic drug, it produces its action on heart through the muscarinic receptor. So which muscarinic? That is M2 receptor. So when it stimulates the M2 receptor, it causes cardiac slowing and decrease in cardiac output. So the latter action, that is the decrease in cardiac output, is mainly due to decreased force of contraction of the atria, because ventricles, they have only sparse parasympathetic innervation. Sparse parasympathetic innervation means the number of connections or the number of parasympathetic neurons that connect to the ventricles, they are very less when we compare it to that of the atria. Okay, and also they have low sensitivity to the muscarinic agonist. It is always remember the cardiovascular system is mainly affected by the sympathetic agents. The parasympathetic agents, they have very little effect on the cardiovascular system, and whatever effect they have, it is not direct effect, it is kindly indirect effect they produce. Okay, so generalized vasodilation also occurs, which is nitric oxide mediated. That's why I said it is indirect effect. Unlike that of the sympathomimetic drugs, where there is alpha 1 receptor and the beta 2 receptor, due to activation of alpha 1 receptor there is vasoconstriction, due to activation of the beta 2 receptor there is vasodilation. But in this case, in case of parasympathomimetic drugs, there is no such any direct effect is seen. Here the acetylcholine, by acting on its receptor which is present on blood vessel, causes release or formation of nitric oxide, and the nitric oxide which is released is responsible for the vasodilation, not the acetylcholine. Acetylcholine just promotes its formation. Okay, so these above two effects, they combine to produce sharp fall in the arterial pressure. This nitric oxide, it is a potent vasodilator substance. That's why it causes sharp fall in the arterial pressure. So the atropine, which is a parasympatholytic drug, which is an antagonist, it causes tachycardia by blocking the muscarinic receptors. Okay, so this is because there is no effect on sympathetic system. Sympathetic system effects, they are uninhibited due to presence of atropine. Atropine only inhibits the parasympathetic stimulation. So that's why, what is effect of the noradrenaline onto the heart? It is increase in the heart rate, which is nothing but the tachycardia. So it only inhibits the parasympathetic tone. So at very low doses, the atropine causes paradoxical bradycardia. Paradoxical means what? It is a paradox. Usually what should atropine do? Atropine should cause the tachycardia, but it is not happening over here at lower doses. instead of it, exactly opposite is happening. That's why it is called as paradox. Okay, so this happens due to the central action of the atropine. Okay, so arterial blood pressure is unaffected because most of the resistant vessel, they have no cholinergic innervation. Okay, so in presence of atropine, the acetylcholine, it fails to produce any action. Okay, so next is histamine. So very small thing, but we are going to learn about this in detail in a separate chapter. Okay, so histamine is a naturally occurring autocoid which causes generalized vasodilation through the H1 and H2 receptors. So when histamine is administered in dog, there is marked fall in the blood pressure. Okay, so this is important. So we have discussed about the action of histamine in the mediators of inflammation also, but only we have touched that particular point on the surface only. We didn't go into the deep knowledge of it as we were supposed to study in the pharmacology. Okay, so that was all for this particular experiment. I hope that you are able to connect this experiment with whatever knowledge you have gained in the last pharmacology about the autonomic nervous system. If you see, this cardiovascular system is in entirety, it is dependent on the what effects sympathetic drugs have onto the heart, what effects parasympathetic drugs they have onto the heart. It is entirely dependent on it. So if you are very thorough with your knowledge of the autonomic nervous system drugs, then you will be really, it becomes easier for you to connect with the things which we are studying now. Okay, so that was all, and with this I will conclude my lecture over here only. Thank you.